We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this.
And what this is something I might as well just jump right on the old high horse. So I've been kind of beating this drum a little bit. In years past, not as much, but definitely in 2020, about the difference between a Cajun style sauce and a Louisiana style sauce. And then we now have Louisiana. they're trying to cover both bases, I guess. So we have a Louisiana branded hot sauce, which is clearly a Louisiana style sauce, but also trying to pick up on the Cajun thing. I imagine this is because they figure most people really don't see a distinction. They use it interchangeably. But that's like, to me, that's like saying that all red wine is the same. There's just red and white, and that's it. And I think that's, kind of, they're just cutting a lot of stuff short. Anyway, so what's in here is cayenne pickles, vinegar, salt, and that's really all we need. There's also guar gum, alginate, xanthan gums, and some coloring to give it this really pretty red hue. So this one, I don't think they have the market penetration of some of the other sauces. And I think it's not for lack of trying, because I think they are trying really, really hard to cover every single base they can with, at least in terms of the labeling. Even though this is just a straightforward cayenne pepper Louisiana style sauce. So we have a little bit of separation. So let's see if we can agitate that. As you can see, this is actually, it's very, very runny, but it's not probably quite as runny as some of the other sauces we've seen in this style. It does have a restrictor built into the bottle itself. And let's just get this nice watery pour going on here. Usually I like to get farther down the neck. This is why you usually don't see me opening bottles on camera, because I don't feel like there's enough space to properly agitate things in the beginning. And you can see we have some color diffusion here a little bit. But it's basically this very bright red-orange color. And I mean, it looks like every other Louisiana style sauce out there. Viscosity is pretty close to the same thing as well. So, and away we go. It is a good example of a cayenne pepper Louisiana style sauce where you just taste basically the pepper, vinegar, and salt. Different from Cajun, where you have at least garlic and usually a host of other stuff in there also. Heat is very minimal. This is more of a vinegar charge. This is very smooth though. It has enough of a blast to hit you in the back of the throat like a good cayenne Louisiana style sauce will do. But it also tastes smooth, and that probably is due to these emulsifiers in there. But it really, for me, kind of amplifies the taste of the cayenne pepper, which again is my all-time favorite. So one of the things I really like to have the Louisiana style sauce on is breakfast food. So here I've got these atrocious biscuit roll-up sausage egg things. I think there might be cheese in there too, from Jimmy Dean. These are bad. Don't buy or eat them. But since I happen to have them, kind of keeping on with this breakfast theme, now it's just as good of a time as any to kind of get into that. So we got just running everywhere. Oh man. So it doesn't, hot sauce doesn't make things good, but it will often make them more enjoyable, more palatable. Precisely what they're doing here. They're taking a not very good food and making it not quite so miserable. These are bad. Honestly, I would not eat these without hot sauce. Restrictor built into the bottle is not working great though. Honestly, I think the holes are just a touch too big. I see it has a tendency, just like the Lolas, try to run back along the cap. But despite the bad labeling, this really is an excellent example of a Louisiana style sauce. And it's not harsh and abrasive like Crystal and some of the others. You know, some of the more cheap ones. This one is not expensive either, I should point that out, but it is not abrasive on that level. It has enough emulsifier to really kind of smooth that out. To really dial down some of that vinegar. Because this is a very clearly a harsh white vinegar they're using, but that's really what you want a lot of the times. You get some rich food, like collard greens or something like that. You don't have hot sauce. It's just not right. It's just not right. And I think they were trying to, it's almost like they're trying to cover the buffalo wing side of things a little bit as well. I imagine that I will have enough of this for the Q3, maybe, for the Q3 wing roundup thing that I do to sort of the homage to the hot ones. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing how this does on wings. I think it'll be probably pretty good. Again, almost no heat. But the flavor's all there. You know, and honestly, for me, I don't necessarily want tons and tons of heat. Like the Arazu, I could go maybe just a little skosh hotter than that, but that is almost exactly right as far as heat. And so like Thai food, right? It's really hard for me to try to find actively bad Thai food. It's a food that I think lends itself well enough that you can have stuff that's better than others, certainly, but it's almost hard to find a bad Thai restaurant. And like if you look through some of my Yelp reviews, I kind of get into that a little bit as well. A lot, actually. But that's kind of like what Louisiana style sauce is to me. It is, the cayenne pepper lends itself so well, and this is such a simple sauce, that almost anybody can make an okay one, a solid one. And I would put this maybe up a little bit higher than that. I would say that, you know, depending on how you're ranking things, I would put this to maybe good. It's definitely above average. But it's not honestly, that's not a really high bar. It's kind of like Thai food, like I said. So you can just go, a couple bucks, pick something like this up, and find out if you like the style sauce without really feeling too much of a dent in the old pocketbook. And that's why I think this is ubiquitous. This one, I don't know which one is out there more. Is it more Mexican style or is it more Louisiana style? But I'm sure those two are probably 1 and 2 out there. And in the case of the Louisiana style, it's for a good reason. One of the biggest commercial hot sauces we saw, of course, is Tabasco, and that is very similar in theme to what we're talking about here. That was the introduction, I think, for hot sauce and spice for almost everybody. Is that just that fermented Tabasco pepper sauce? Even though chili heads, I don't think are really too in love with it. I certainly wasn't either. I don't like the sort of sweetness, that aspect to it. But when I hit on this was perfection. This was what Tabasco should have been to me the entire time. So it was definitely an epiphany the first time I had one of these sauces, and I think I used it on almost everything I could think of. But all right, so there it is. Good example. The Louisiana, poorly named Cravin Cajun, but it is a Louisiana style sauce, not a Cajun sauce, and I'm sticking to my guns on this one.
Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.